Hey, what's going on, guys? So a lot of you got into DevvE because of me, and you're looking for information about what's going on. So I'm going to give you a quick DevvE update. Now, remember, I'm no longer partner with these guys, but I am still one of the most vocal pro DevvE holders out here. And with the updates, that's not changed. Now, the public shard is not currently available, but there's a caveat to that. It was basically done. The shard takes a little bit of a different architecture than the institutional architecture, so it's caused a tiny bit of delay. That tiny bit of delay could be at any moment we might see it, or it could take a few more days. But they are working diligently on making sure that the public portion of DevX blockchain is live and ready for you guys to use. So with that being said, what we're going to talk about today is why I continue to be incredibly bullish on the project and what I think happens next. Now, you guys also know that if you have listened to me any length of time, you already know who I think the partner is. I can't confirm it because they are a very tight-lipped, very organized, very professional sort of team here. So I can't squeeze any of these guys and make them give me any details. So everything that we do is wild speculation. I will name those people when I talk about the chart, and you guys hit that like button on the way in. All right, so before we go far, this is the new website. You will notice that there is a much more clean vibe to what we had before, which was green. It was a little bit, it was not 3D, if you will. It was really just kind of a template holder for the time being as they were working on getting all of these parts and pieces together, but here they are. Now, if you are looking for the white paper and you want to skip through to the white paper, then it's not over here on Read Docs. It is actually, if you scroll down just a tiny bit here, this window pops up and it tells you here, read the white paper. I'm going to pull this up for you so that you can look at it. But while it's loading, we're going to talk about the DevvE.exchange. And this is currently developed in partnership with one of the world's largest leading traditional finance companies and is scheduled to launch in half to 2025. So we are in, by the way, Q4, which means that this is going to happen at a very rapid clip. What we've seen right now has really been a fast sort of approach. If you guys remember, Tom Anderson had decided on what was more a monolithic approach, which was, and those were his words, and what it really meant was everything was going to come out at one time. It was all going to be ready, and then boom, everybody would be happy. However, as is the case in crypto, a lot of people get excited and they don't want to wait, and they start to FUD, they start to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and they start to dump on the chart because they're waiting for their moment. And to be fair, you know, for those people right there, they're watching a lot of different cryptos start to surge. So, and basically, listen, if you buy, Ethereum was at $1,200 not that long ago, okay? So if you held Ethereum, or if you held DevvE at the same time as Ethereum was at $1,200, Ethereum is now at almost $5,000, so it's up 4x. At the same time, your DevvE portfolio is probably down about 50 cents right now. So it is understood that you are more than likely a little bit upset and a little bit anxious by it if you are a small investor and this is your nest egg, if you will, or this is your passion project, whatever the case may be. Now, if that's the case, I understand. We all feel that way sometimes. But if you miss this run, you will never get it back. That is the point to all of this. For anybody who is wondering why I don't complain, or when I do complain, it's basically about something that really is not the price on the chart. I'm not concerned about the price on the chart at all. I understand what's going to happen. I know that some of you need or feel like you need to double your bag or triple your bag or do whatever it is. You know, not all of you are into this the way that I am, but if that's the case, you do you, boo-boo. So anyway, the exchange right here, I'm going to scroll down here. You can see it's pretty clean. This is, by the way, just the website, all of that kind of stuff. This is not what you're trading on right now. That is to come a little bit later. But this is just a breakdown of the exchange and the news and everything that goes along with it. As you can see, pretty clean, pretty nice layout. Let's get in now to the white paper. That's what everybody came to see, or at least I think that's what you came to see. Now, one of the complaints that you've seen so far from people is that the white paper looks more like something that you would get in traditional finance. Well, duh. The argument here is what they're looking to do is attract traditional finance into the dev ecosystem. So if that is the case, doesn't it make sense that you would tailor it towards traditional finance? The answer to that, by the way, before you can think of the answer to that is yes. So let's break it down here just a little bit. I'm not going to go through the whole thing for you. You can go check this out if you want to, okay? The introduction and problem statement right here. We're going to skip that portion. Now, the products that we're talking about are Dev Exchange. With today's crypto exchange often operate like brokerages in that they pool customer assets in omnibus wallets and introduce counterparty risk and operational opacity. Dev Exchange, our non-custodial instant settlement digital asset venue, takes a different path as trades execute and settle instantly on-chain directly through chain's validators, eliminating commingled funds and third-party dependency. What that means is that you, unlike the current exchanges right now, you are just going to connect your wallet. Should use a DevvE Wallet, by the way. But if you connect your wallet, then you are now an active participant on the exchange. So that's going to change fundamentally the way that you have transacted with a centralized exchange. Previously, or up until this launch, if you want to go to Coinbase, if you have crypto on Coinbase right now, Coinbase has crypto on Coinbase. You own nothing. You're basically giving them custody of your crypto. Not your keys, not your crypto. You will have custody of everything on the Dev Exchange, which is why this is so fascinating, which is why this is tailored towards traditional finance. That's what they're looking for. Also, we have the DevvE network. The network is a new public builder-ready network that opens the ecosystem to third-party projects while staying natively interoperable with the entire Dev ecosystem. The Dev network will enable, and by the way, I think at this point, because of the little breakdown, I think we should start to look at this as Dev instead of DevvE. I always say DevvE, but I think it really at this point, the way that they've phrased it, I think we should kind of look at it and call it Dev, okay? So the Dev network will enable real on-chain utilities such as lending, payments, token movement, and developer access by standing up a public network with API plus testnet access, core DeFi capabilities, and the INN middleware. Now, you might be wondering, well, hey, how do I get in on that? I got that for you in just a moment, so sit tight. Now, what else do we have? We've got lending. We've got the devise multiplier. The devise multiplier is an incentive mechanism designed to align long-term commitment, community participation, and decentralization with meaningful token rewards. You're going to be a liquidity provider for these caches, and you're going to be using devise to do that. Though by weighting the dev reward distributions not only on the amount contributed into liquidity cash, but also on how consistently and for how long participants stay engaged, the system encourages sustained involvement and discourages short-term speculative behavior, meaning a leaner, faster, cleaner interface here with long-term liquidity provision. So this, again, is based on traditional finance, long-term goals. That's a fantastic thing. Now, we're going to close this out with instant settling, and we're going to move down here to fraud, theft, and loss protection. Remember, the permanence of blockchains is both their strength and weakness. This Dev Digital takes a different path to those currently on the market through innovative mechanism. Theft and loss are addressed not by handling control to a third party, but by binding a wallet to user-defined recovery options enforced by the protocol itself. Through Dev Protect, wallets, device signatures, and verified identities are cryptographically linked to deterministic rules that govern both authentication and recovery. There is no more stealing and getting your wallet hacked. They have fixed and solved this problem. Now, obviously, as with anything, we have to see it in practice to see how robust it is. But so far, there's no real reason to question what's going on. So this is a fantastic thing. And by the way, this is a paradigm shift in the way that cryptocurrency is being handled. Also, remember, self-custody. This is also part of it. This is to remind you, as part of traditional finance, you are in control of your Dev tokens, of all of your tokens or coins that you use on the Dev exchange. You are now in control. They are not in control. And by they, I mean Coinbase, I mean Kraken, I mean Crypto.com. They do not control your money. You are in charge. So the ups and the downs and the everything are in your hand, and that's what people want. Now, there's also some conversation here about the Dev token utility. You guys, by the way, go read that as you want. We're going to move on here. This was the Q3 roadmap update. This quarter was about laying foundations and delivering from infrastructure to integrations, white paper to website, the ecosystem stronger than ever, and here's what we've achieved. The ecosystem foundation and testing. First iteration of Dev Standard Plus test framework is complete. System architecture with key partners has been defined. Solid groundwork in place, evolving with compliance. By the way, the system architecture with key partners defined. I don't know that there's actual key partners when we're talking about that. There may be plenty of different partners that are going to be part of it when I reveal who I think the partner is. But I don't think that when we talk about multiple partners, I think really what they're doing is they're putting the architecture in place so that anybody who wants to navigate this system can easily plug and play and get right into it. So I don't think that that means a specific person or group. I think that's just kind of a mechanism that they have. Also, the Dev Network test launch is out. DevX API plus testnet ready for developers. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. All systems live and prepared for builders. Documentation and support channels are available now. We're going to look at that in just one moment. Also, the white paper has now been released with a holistic overview of the ecosystem, updated utility models for the DevvE holders. Again, this is more TradFi than it is Web3. So what we just went over, what we just looked at, doesn't look like your typical white paper for crypto. It looks more like something that you would get from an up-and-coming company in the real world. Not that Web3 is not the real world, but you get what my point is. The new website is now live. We just saw DevvE.com and dev.exchange. Improved user interface and clearer participation pathways. Easy access for users, developers, and partners. Then you have the institutional integration architecture, which is high-level architecture, and it has been finalized. The key partners have been identified and framework ready for future integration. Now, the key partners are not publicly identified. It's in the structure of the system they've been identified. Now, Q3 delivered, the ecosystem is live, foundations are set, and we're ready to scale. Now, you might notice the one caveat to this is there's no public shard yet. That does not mean that they are not ready for massive growth in the institutional aspect, and we're going to get to that in just a moment when we talk about the chart. But we should recognize the public shard still has a tiny bit of work to go, and then it will be live again in the next couple of days. Now let's move on again, and we go to the final piece before we get to price action. That's going to be the Dev Network testnet is now live. So by accessing or using the DevEO or Dev Testnet API, you agree to be bound by the DevEO Dev Testnet terms of service, and then you can review and do whatever you need to do right here. But here is all of the pieces that you as a builder are going to need in order to get yourself ready to go. Simple RESTful API integration. You click here to get started. Here is the information that you need. Here's your authentication guide, your API tutorial, and your transaction guide right there for you when you need it. Now, the other thing is, here's your API reference. So whatever you're looking for right now as a builder is, so here we have the Dev Network testnet, which is now live. So if you want to go test, you are now able to test. How you get started is right here. All you have to do is click on this. It will give you the instructions on how you get in. Here's the API reference for you right now so that you have the data and the details that you need. I believe it's coded in C++. So then if you want to become a partner, you can click right here, and you want to explore the network, then you're able to do that over here. So the pieces are all in place right now for a fantastic move and for some building in this ecosystem. Now let's go look at the price. As you can see from the price, we've had quite the run today, up 12% off of the bounce. Now, some of you know that I set a buy order at 34 cents, hoping against hope that we weren't going to get a few of those pieces to give us that real run, but we've got the real run. Now, what we were talking about before, if you zoom out here, I've been looking at this trend line for a while now. As you can see right here, it's played out for a long period of time, and it looks like we're reaching the top, the apex of it. Now, the question to this is, Do we have enough gas in the tank, if you will, to take us up above and beyond to break out above? And if we do that, then I would suspect that we're not going to get into price discovery. Okay, I think it's a little too soon for that. Partnership, everything probably still has to be announced. There's going to be people on the sidelines waiting. So I'm going to be looking at this move right here to about 78 cents. I told somebody yesterday, by the way, that I think $1 is a potential spot. And I put a line up here to give you guys an idea of where that dollar is right there. And you can see that we had that wick that took us to $1 before we broke down back into the 618, ironically. And then we started to build on that last pump. And then also there was a lot of trade volume and there was a little bit of resistance over here on that $1 level. So I suspect that it's going to be kind of hard to break out above $1 right now because we don't have the announcement of partnership, but there will be a partner. Now, it is my estimation, and again, I'm not on the team. I don't have any skin in that game. I am an investor just like you guys. I have about 50,000 DevvE, I said DevvE and I meant to say Dev. I have 50,000 tokens, which will become coins, by the way, in the fourth quarter, which is now. So what I would say to you at this point would be this, that I think that we're probably talking about $20 to $70 when the surge happens. Now, who is the partner? I do not know with any absolute certainty, but I'm going to say that the partner is NASDAQ. And I'm going to say that to you because in November of 2023, I started covering NASDAQ as NASDAQ was moving into the crypto market. I've been doing this for a while. While I was doing that, there were very specific, very important things that NASDAQ was saying about what they were doing, how they were doing it, what they were looking for with integration into crypto. And guess what? When Dev came out with their explanation of the partnership and who they were talking about, to me, it was the same words, the exact same words. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, that's the same for every single one of these people. They all talk the same way. They all think the same way. And that's fair, okay? I don't know who it is. It is just my estimation. But I took the time to ask Grok a little while back what they predicted, or what would be the prediction that, DevvE is trading in this range, but what if there was a partnership with NASDAQ and that they were creating an exchange for institutional traders together? And it gave me a prediction of between $25 and $70, which falls in line with my prediction. And my prediction was a surge to $50, because at $50, we would be talking about around a $5 billion market cap based on the current circulating supply. So it is my estimation and my belief that Dev is about to go on a historic run. This is about to become another top 25 cryptocurrency in all of cryptodom, okay? $5 billion market cap would not do that. I think it's going to go much higher. But for my portion and for my part, I'm going to give you a prediction and say that I think that Dev is going to $50 in this cycle at a minimum, not a maximum, at a minimum. And then from there, we could be talking about historical numbers. If it goes up to the level of Sweet, which is partnered with Franklin Templeton, not NASDAQ. If it goes to the level of Sweet, we're talking about $137 per coin for Dev versus my prediction of $50. So that's how much potential there is for this project. Now I am not a financial advisor. I do this stuff because it's what I like doing, but I am not certified to tell you what you should put your money in. If you are interested in Dev, or if you are interested in any project, it is upon you and it is incumbent upon you to do your own research and figure out what your risk tolerance is and whether this is the move and play for you. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. Follow me if you haven't. If you love punk rock, you're going to find out that I am a big punk rock guy, by the way. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's not financial advice, but I'm always right.